What's up, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of Let The Brotha Speak. And this here is a show. It's just dedicated to, letting the brothers get it off their chest. Let them have a word. We don't want to. Every so often, we may have a female guest come in from time to time, and we just want to introduce ourselves. I'm Big C, the chef. Some of you know me from a couple of my other podcasts. This is a new one that we're working on. And I'm going to let the fellas go around and just introduce themselves.
What's going on, people? My name is Miguel, or you can call me Migo. Born and raised in Fort Worth. I guess you can say I'm the young bull on the podcast. Definitely excited to talk about the mental side of it. I think it's very important in this day and age to save ourselves. So,
yeah. I'm Mike Wells. I'm the probably the old guy of the crowd. I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland. Grew up in an era where people were more family oriented, more towards the trying to raise a community type thing. But like I said, we all about trying to raise the community, raise awareness to what things going on in our community. Black men trying to speak on truths, our truths.
How y'all doing? It's Raymond Appleberry. I go by Appleberry or Appleberry Baby. Excited for the opportunity. Excited for the opportunity to work with these gentlemen. Got a chance to come to this podcast and talk about a lot of things as it relates to Black males. I'm originally from Memphis, Tennessee. I come from a family of three. I'm the oldest in my family, and I have two sisters. However, I grew up around about 100 cousins, if that makes sense. So I had about 100 cousins. So on my street, all 10 of my aunties and uncles stayed on that street, and my granddaddy. And at some point, all of us lived in that small shack house. So when you're talking about family, you talk about community, I know all about it. And I got some different experiences about working with all those different personalities, right? Mm-hmm. So therefore, excited about the opportunity. Let's kick it off.
All right. That's what's up. So, all right. So this is it. This is what we got. We may have some, like I said, we'll have some guests on periodically, bring some other insight, because I'm sure everybody don't want to just hear us every week, and I'm probably not going to talk that much because, I'm that's why I'm not in the shop with them, because I'm over here behind the board. So I got to do a number of different things. So here we are.
Okay, Appleberry, you coming from a barbecue place.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So, in your mind, what you think of Texas barbecue?
Yeah. Politically correct answer, but honestly, I like it all. Mm-hmm. I like Kansas City. It's got a different taste. I like Memphis. But I've been living in Texas for 20 years, so I cook toward Texas, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. One of the biggest things that, in my life right now, cooking is brisket. Man, I love to cook some brisket, right? And we even got some competitions coming up pretty soon if y'all want to hop in on those. We're looking at brisket, chicken, ribs, and steak.
Okay.
But yeah, man, but it's all about the slow cooking, not necessarily, I'm not a big thing on sauce or anything like that, because I really believe if you are able to cook your meat right, you don't need no sauce. Yeah. Kind of like a steak, right? Yeah. But intrigued just with different palates and different tastes and different things of that nature. Also intrigued with what other people are doing. So yeah. Appreciate that question, man.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now we're going to talk to the Texas native.
Yes, sir.
What kind of barbecue that you like outside of Texas?
I'm gonna kind of be like him on that one, because being that I am from Texas, but I was in the Navy at the time, so I got to experience some other things. So from what I've experienced, I'll say I like some Georgia barbecue. It got a little bit of sweetness to it.
Yeah.
I like that. And then I like I like the Carolinas too. They got a good another good smoke flavor that I like. I've had a little bit of a Tennessee, a little. I got some partners from there, so I've had a little bit.
Yeah.
So I like anything that, as you say, like you don't need no sauce on that meat.
Yeah.
You know that's when I know it's some good barbecue when you can eat it without the sauce. So yeah, that's But of course, you know, I'm gonna say I love home. You know, Texas is you know, I was trying to I'm gonna stay humble, but you know, Texas, I love my Texas. It's what I know, but I will say there are some other states out there that can throw down. So yeah, I'm gonna give them their credit.
Yeah.
All right.
So what about you, Mike?
Yeah.
Me, I'm a mixture. I like to do different things. So, you know, I like the Kansas City dry rub. You know, I like the St. Louis style. You know, I also enjoy the North Carolina style. That sweet, that mustard taste to it. The pork with apple cider, apple sauce type stuff. I do like Texas, you know, but some people do tend to overdo it, over smoke it. I like to taste the meat. I want to taste. If I'm eating chicken, I'm eating chicken. But I have this thing with me. I do things with beer. So I'll do like Heineken ribs, you know, let it marinate in that alcohol, let that sinews break on the meat and let it go for it. But all in all, I think I'm leaning towards Memphis, which is kind of funny because I asked you because I like Memphis barbecue.
Yeah. They most definitely got a different way in which they go about it.
Yeah.
I would say that. Yeah. Coming up, that's all we pretty much did. You know, we out in the field and barbecuing and having a good old time. You look up and it's like 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. You know, stuff still on the grill. You're trying to get, you know, big smoke pit built up with bricks and stuff like that. So just getting it in. So yeah.
See, I got to be honest there though. Look, I ain't no barbecuer, and it's kind of with what we were talking about. Something we talked about in the group. It's that male figure wasn't there, so you know it wasn't nobody there to teach me. So now I'm dabbling from what of course YouTube, and then I got friends that do it. That I got some friends that can really throw down. So I'm kind of seeing what they doing. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna practice this. So I got me a little pit. Of course, I didn't want to start off big because you know just in case I don't like it and I don't stick with it. But yeah, I'm gonna see what I can get at. So give me about 2 more summers and we're gonna see. You know, because to get your right season, you know, I know it takes some time to get that how you want it. So give me about 2 summers and I'm gonna show y'all something.
You a young Bobby Flay in the making, huh?
Say, hey, I'm gonna be out there. So I know you don't need no sauce on that meat now. That's gonna be me. That's gonna be, you don't need no sauce on that meat now.
Yeah.
All right. Well, me, you know what? I haven't really had any barbecue since I've been down here. I've been here for 4 years, and I haven't really had a whole lot of barbecue. I'm not a really big barbecue eater for real. I'm gonna be honest with you and put it out there. No, I'm not a big barbecue eater. So, but you know, when I do eat, I'll eat some rib tips. I love St. Louis style rib tips. You know, I'm gonna rep St. Louis wherever I go. You know, like you know. So, but yeah, I'm just not really a big barbecue eater. I know my wife. She said maybe it's the St. Louis in her. I don't know, but she was like, I ain't tasting no good barbecue since I've been down here. But she probably, I mean, if y'all know of some good places where to get some that she can probably go to, you know.
There's one right around the corner from me.
Okay, well,
and I
we have to try it out.
2 of them. Now, normally, what I prefer is whoever got a pit hooked up to the back of their truck, and I don't mean like they. And I ain't even talking about the ones where they hauling it. If they hauling on a trailer, it gotta be the big pit. But if not, I'm talking about the ones that done welded it to the back of their old school truck. Them. Now that's what I normally like. Now, if you're going somewhere, let's say an actual restaurant, 2 places I can honestly vouch for. They got some real good barbecue. First, I'm gonna say Hard Eights Barbecue. Real good. And
it's called who? Hard Eggs?
Hard Eights.
Hard Eggs.
Yeah, they got one over there out there in Burleson.
Yeah.
Then there's one. There's about 2 or 3 locations.
There's one in the Colony. There's one in Capel. I think Capel was the original. Hutchins is another good one.
That was the second one right there. Matter of fact, what's that? The TikToker, Keith Lee. he might have actually tried Hutchinson.
Okay.
If I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
Hutchins, I think, was originated in Kenny.
Okay.
Didn't live too far from there. And my cousin, who's a saxophonist that I told you about, he hooked me. He got me onto that place, and then they opened up a few other ones, one in Frisco.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they're good. But I'm trying to find one that's close to you. It's in Mansfield.
Yeah. I know somebody told me, they said, man, you got to try Rudy's. And I'm like, I don't know about no franchises restaurants. I like the ones that, if I'm gonna get some barbecue, I want the kind that's mom and pop.
Yes.
One location. I don't want a franchise because I think I heard somebody say before Rudy's was like McDonald's.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Hurtado Barbecue.
Who?
Hurtado.
Hurtado. Okay.
And, I do know a good one, but I got to get his name, and he has a big old food truck, and that mac and cheese was.
They doing slap your mama.
I thought I saw Jesus. I thought I saw him.
Okay. Well, there you go. There's barbecue. If you all want to tell us some good more barbecue spots, hit us up in the comments and let us know. So what else we got, guys? What else we gonna talk about? What else we got?
You got a question?
We could talk about that topic you brought up in the group chat.
I didn't bring up the topic. Mike thought I brought that topic up, but it wasn't me.
Who brought
Which
that?
one? Which one?
The one about
the dude with the
male father's involvement.
I think that was yours.
No, that was not me. The dude apparently he was talking to about some other dude named Chris, but it wasn't me.
Oh no. There was one where the mother was had the father that was the one.
Go ahead, pull it up and read it.
That was you.
That
Why
was,
men are needed when raising kids.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
That one. Oh yeah, let's get into it. I feel like, so here's the backstory. There was a video where the father was I don't know if it was the father or not, but all I know is it was a little boy sitting on the couch, and man was in his face, and he was like, "Why you disrespect your mother like that? Talk to me like that." And you ain't got nothing to say, and the dude, he cussing his mom out and everything, and the dude was like, "Oh, you talk to me that way? Oh, you ain't got nothing to say now? How can you can't talk like that to me? Oh, you don't know? Well, you gonna find. Well, I'm gonna help you find out today, And I just feel like, me personally, that's why these kids today out of control.
Mm-hmm.
These kids out of control. I mean, they show nobody no kind of respect.
Facts.
I just saw another one where a girl went to go beat her grandmama.
Mm-hmm.
Her grandmama, because her grandmama has said something to her mama.
What?
I'm like, are you kidding me? So so that's why I feel like a lot of these kids do need their fathers in their life. I'm not gonna sit here and say that I was one of the greatest fathers, because I wasn't, and I've already talked to my kids about that. I guess you could say I've cleared that path. I guess, I don't know. I can't think of the word for it right now, but yeah, these kids today, a woman can't raise a man, a boy. They can't raise boys into men. They just can't, because, like I said, that's why we got a lot of some. I think they have so many of these kids out of control right now.
Mm-hmm.
They have no respect to person. They have no respect to life. So thoughts.
I definitely agree. I'll say, and it's not to necessarily boost myself, but I think I just kept myself blessed as far as I'll say that I'm a person that let's say you get bored easily. So let's say I acted out and stuff, but I didn't want to keep doing the same thing. And I had my uncle, but sadly he's had to struggle with some incarcerations at time. So really, a lot of time it was it's basically the case of grandmother my 2 aunts and my mother, and then I'm raised with my 2 sisters and my cousin who's also a female. So it was basically all women. So the male role models that I'm getting are what I see on TV of what I think a man is, and then my one of my good friends at the time, his dad, Mr. T. Shout out to you, Mr. T, for a lot of just that being there in my life. But yeah, I definitely know things could have been different if, say, my father could have been present. He also, but he struggled with drugs. So that was his battle, that was his sickness, and I've never had any hard feelings. My thought process was can't hate a man that I didn't know. To be upset with somebody, you got to know them and care for them to actually hurt your feelings. So I didn't know them, and growing up with everybody else, that was my norm. So I didn't feel like I was lacking anything. But luckily my grandmothers and my mother and my aunt really instilled chivalry and respect, and that's really, I think, what helped me. But knowing on the reality, majority of us who are raised without those male role models, we don't have a certain amount of respect for life. Now I do believe that my anger wouldn't have been as bad as it was, and me trying to get it better now, if I did have my actual father in my life. And I recognize that, and there's probably certain things that would have been different if he was a father figure. So I that's why I say I count myself lucky that I still turned out right in spite of, because I've seen not even just looking at the statistics, just the people growing up with, just seeing how them not having that male role model, like there's nothing there to instill that fear in you. So like really, like what are you afraid of outside of death if there is no male role model? Like I'm gonna do whatever, because what,
Right.
like you say, they're women. I'm not, I don't have that same fear that I would if it was a male.
Right.
And yeah, that's my perspective.
I definitely understand that because my father was in my life, but not so much in my life. So my mom basically raised my brother and I. So I understood how it was to have, like the uncles trying to raise you. And even then, even my dad was there. And one of the things that I swear my dad would never let us get away with was excuses. So it was even growing up, the neighbors across the street, let me cuss. Man, they would get on me, and then they tell my mother get on me. It was sort of like,
And then when daddy got home.
Yeah, it was sort of like passing a blunt around, at a house party, because I was going to get a beating by everybody.
Yep. That's where it was with me too. My father was like that too. Yep.
Yeah, I would get a beaten by everybody. But, one of the things I can say, as even my dad not being specifically in the house, it was, he never instilled that thing of, oh, you're going to get away with something. There was no excuses. It was, I'll go over his house, you mow our lawn, you go across the street and you mow this lawn, and you go over your grandmother's house and mow that lawn. So by the time it was all said and done, it's like, man, my whole Saturday is grumble. But guess what? It sort of instilled that drive that's in me today. A lot of these kids, I hate to say it, but mama, you were emasculating your little boy, and also emasculating the father from being the father if he is trying to be a part of his life. Because, as he said, iron sharpens iron. You can't sharpen iron with feathers. You can't sharpen iron with leather. You can't sharpen iron with anything other than iron. So you have to let that father, sometimes not in the literal, but figuratively, punch that child in the face.
Yeah.
Let him understand he's got to fear somebody.
Yeah.
Because if he doesn't fear daddy, he's not going to fear you, and he's not going to fear the law, and he's not going to fear any other authority out there. Now he becomes a problem to the community.
No conviction can come if you don't have that fear of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got something on it before I speak?
Good. Nah, go ahead.
Okay. I got, I guess, a different perspective. Probably because I've worked in the education system for the last 20 years, right? And I've come up a certain way as well. So I've had fear instilled in me, if you will, right? So as I told y'all earlier, I grew up with my father. I also had 7 uncles, my grandfather, and my other grandfather, which I pretty much seen them pretty much every day. If I didn't see one, I saw 5, right? So as you alluded to, I can remember this one time, I actually got in a fight, won this fight, and ran home. And because I ran home, they thought I was scared, but I was just running home because I won this fight. The neighbor said, we saw him running home. So everybody got me because I ran. Right. So I think you can overdo it sometimes. But here's the piece where I guess I say I disagree with is this fear thing. Because this is what happens to students that I work with every day. Where males are present in life, they are fearful of those males. But the other piece that I don't think we're talking about is the discipline piece. What do I mean by that? Discipline means to teach. So you just don't want to punch a cat in the mouth, figuratively, right? You also want a lesson to go behind it.
Yeah.
Right. So what I see today is that whether that's your mother or your father, they just want to do the slap, but not the correction and the teaching. Right. And the learning doesn't come from the fear. The learning comes from the teaching. Now, here's the other piece that I see from these students. We're talking about drive. We're talking about confidence, right? If I'm fearing anybody, when I go to school, I start having this inferiority complex against other people as well. So if I got fear in me from my parents when I come to school, and this is an authority figure, and these people that don't necessarily look like me don't have really my best interest at heart, not intentionally, but unintentionally, we start developing this complex that you're seeing, right? They don't have any respect. Why? Could be because they got some fear. I have kids tell me all the time, because I work in social and emotional behavior. I'm scared. I'm scared of what the world is going to give me. I'm scared of my mama. I'm scared of you because I don't trust nobody, right? When we were coming up, I'm going to say when I was coming up, even though I got that whooping, they still talked to me. They told me why I was doing this, what they doing this. They also said this hurt me more than it hurt you. I was like, that's a lie.
that was a famous line.
That was a famous line. But what I'm seeing perpetuate itself over and over and over, especially in our Black boys, because this is who I predominantly work with, Black boys, brown boys, right? High levels of maladaptive behavior I'm talking about. They don't got a regard for anybody, right? Because I've been scared here, and now I can't get scared of this no more. I got to fight the world, right? When you really dig down into it. So as an educator, I have to look at that from a different perspective, because this is what I'm getting. I'm getting your kid come to me. And I can't say, I can't use fear now. I got to use psychology. I got to use, how do you identify the function of your behavior? And then how do I replace that with a more acceptable behavior, right? And acceptable behavior could be whatever we want to call it. Last point I'll make on this, when you're looking at any function of behavior, one of the things that people misinterpret about this is that you can just stop doing it, right? And if you don't replace that behavior with something that's equally important, the behavior never changed. Give me an example. If Miguel is trying to get attention from me, right? And I tell Miguel, you need to go sit in there. He still want attention. But I got to show him how to get attention appropriately. So Miguel, this is how you get attention from me, right? I never disregard their intention, the attention piece. I show him how to get attention appropriately. What we do a lot of times, I'll say what we misinterpret a lot of times when we talk as an adults, we'll say something like the word fear and not necessarily explain the entire process, right? And now everybody has it misconstrued, and that's where we get our kids going out here and not knowing what they should be doing. You can probably look at this at work. You may say, this is the process. You know how to do it. And you may say X, Y, Z, you can do it. But then this other person come over here and do it. It's like, I told you this, but it's a nuance to there, right? So therefore, you know, my perspective is a little bit different because I work with these kids on a day-to-day basis. And I've helped a lot of them, but I've also lost a lot of them.
Can
Yeah.
I want to ask. It's not necessarily a rebuttal, but it's to ask, and then I want to hear your response to it. I do believe, especially I think you really nailed it on the end, especially with saying that we say fear, but that's not necessarily the overall
Mhm.
what we mean. But I'm saying fear is needed in a little bit, like in the sense of if I burn myself on the stove,
Mhm.
I have a little fear of that fire now because I know what it's capable of. But I agree with what you're saying about I know what can happen if I break the rules. I might get popped by my daddy or my grandpa or my
Mhm.
uncle. But like you say, I do think in some cases, the teaching part is left out. It's just the belt. It's no benefit. It's just the belt.
Yeah, it's just about.
But I agree with what you're saying. But I do think a little bit of fear help.
Yeah.
But you, like I said, you said it at the end when you said we're
Mhm.
not really just encompassing that this is just fear.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah,
excluding
the
that.
education
Yeah.
factor is not included in
Yeah.
the discipline.
So my retort would be that because my retort would be to that is that I don't think that's fear if you touch your head on that stove and you get burnt. I don't think it's fear that you don't go back. I think you have the knowledge now.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? That's the difference. I think you have the knowledge.
Okay.
And now if I continue to make that choice, then that's my choice. Right? So that's how I try to portray those things to people that I'm talking to because to me it has a negative connotation, right?
Mm.
That word fear, right?
Yeah.
Why should I fear my daddy? Why should I fear my uncle? Why should I fear anybody? Then some people don't know how to stop that, and then they let other people prey on them because they're an authority figure, and therefore now they're preyed on, right? So I've seen it happen too many times, especially with young ladies, right? That come to us and they've been molested and things of that nature. Because I'm supposed to respect that person because they're my elders and I'm supposed to do that's that fear thing.
Yeah.
So I have to like, I can't deal with that. I can't deal in that piece of it. I understand what you're saying, but I choose to switch the terminology if that makes sense.
So you have the knowledge now, and
Mm-hmm.
that makes a lot of sense. I can definitely get with that one.
Yeah.
I-
So go ahead.
Yeah, I what you're saying also lies into I've dealt with people with addictions and things like that, and sometimes not having the issue of dealing with the repercussions and also sometimes passing it off. That it tends to have that same thing where there's no fear in it after a while. They just do what they do. So yeah, I understand that. They got to understand why they're doing a certain thing compared to just taking the punishment and then not getting the understanding of why I did this thing, and just taking a punishment, throwing somebody in jail, and not telling them why they did it would be no help to somebody.
Right. Have you all heard of this concept of the school to prison pipeline?
Absolutely.
Right. So school to prison pipeline, it says that if especially male boys, if you can't read by third grade, you're probably going to end up incarcerated.
Yeah.
Right. Now, question about that. Of course, somebody did this study, put this information out. It's been, replicated over and over and over again. Okay. My question is, like, I kind of look at things a different perspective. The study may be true, right? Of course, you couldn't tally all the boys in America. So
There's some alignment
right
there. Yeah.
there's something there, right? My question would be to you all, why would somebody put that information out?
Because there has to be some truth in that statement.
Okay.
Has to be some truth. And I mean, because I even posted, which is kind of funny. I posted about that, I think yesterday or today, talking about how, it seems as though inner city schools are underfunded, right? So you have a high dropout rate. Well, with a high dropout rate, you tend to have people that are now in the world that are trying to do things and what they think is good for their neighborhood, but is also the prison, the pipeline. If you're not funding something, because we were talking about, how the school districts are set up in this area. Richer neighborhoods have better schools. Not so rich neighborhoods don't have such great schools. But it comes down to a thing of why is it happening?
I got a different perspective as to why that narrative is put out, because I believe they know that people will accept it rather than combat it. Uh, it's like with any news, when something is put out there, everybody accept it as the truth.
Mhm.
Well, if we put out there, hey, if your son can't read by at this level, chances is he's going to end up in jail. And rather than combat that and try and fix that issue, we accepted it. Oh well, he couldn't read, so we already knew he was going. So we kind of basically let some people fall by the wayside because, well, they said this is what happened, so we almost already write them off as the lost cause.
You know, I had that same situation where my stepson, they were like, oh, well, he can't do this, he can't. And the mom was accepting. I said, if that boy can play video games and complete it to the very end,
Absolutely.
that boy can learn.
Yeah.
He can learn. It's just the fact that the school system at that point has given up on him, and you have given up on him. I'm not giving up on him.
Like, what about all the times they say they talk too much and they talk too much in class?
Yeah.
And then you go back and look, you talking about the one who grew up to become a politician or
Absolutely.
inspirational speaker. Well, there was a reason behind it, but so many times when there's certain things we do as kids, they love to write it off as a negative. Your kid is hyperactive. He got ADHD. No, there might be a gift in there, but we write it off, and it's almost like they start to handicap our possible futures.
Absolutely. I would say this, and I give an example because I think you all work in the car industry, right? And I think, like, let's say when Ford first started this assembly line and things of that nature, or GM, whatever it is, do you think the same things are happening back when they first started to now?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not, right? How long ago would you say that started? Maybe let's say 100 years ago, right?
It's about 100 years.
All right. So if you look at the educational system, we still teach the same way we started teaching 100 years ago.
If not worse, because you know the new math they got out
Yeah,
now.
Well, the math ain't mathing, right? But it's very interesting that, again, like you take that study, right? I always look at intent, right? Who put that out? Is it a reading company trying to promote their reading process, and they want some more people to buy this, so therefore they're going to put that information out, right? So looking at what's the money behind this, but also looking at, like you all alluded to a little bit earlier, where's the individualized approaches to this student, right? Because every student learns differently, right?
Absolutely.
So what we try to do in our programs is teach the kids passion, right? So what's your passion? And now we're designing our lesson around, our math lesson around that passion. Social emotional learning as well. We're having group every morning where you're able to do what we're doing right here. Get this stuff off your chest, right? And as we continue to talk, we get closer together, right? We got 4 pillars that we identify in our programs, and it's belonging, mastery, independence, and generosity. So first, they have to be a participating member of the group. Then you have to be a contributing member of the group. And in that contributing stage, you start getting some skills and things of that nature. And then independence is where you start spreading your wings, right? Feeling yourself a little bit. But when you get to generosity, it's full circle. You start helping others, right? And in our life's journey, all of us are going to be in all of those stages. I truly believe that. So I bring that question up because when you talk about fear tactics are being put on us every day.
Absolutely.
Right? They're putting on us every day. So again, enjoyed the conversation on this particular question, but I got another question for y'all.
Okay.
Go for it.
This is for everybody too. What is the most important work that you're doing right now?
Well, I've been, in fact, I'm actually going back to school to get my certification on this. Life coaching. What I realized is when I was doing financial advising, a lot of the people that were screwed up financially, it wasn't that they didn't make the money. It was because they were trying to almost be their own God, blessing themselves abundantly above what they could reasonably do at the moment. They made the money, but then they want to go out and spend this and go do that and show off for people. And what I realized is you're trying to impress people that don't even like you. And I'm gonna say I was a victim of that. I absolutely Tommy Hilfiger this, Perry Ellis this, whatever. Timberland, everything. I had a pair of Timberlands for every outfit I had.
Yeah.
So I mean, I know, but what I realize is when you start to grow up, you start to say, you know what? I don't need this. I don't need that. And there's a difference between a need and want. Needs are clothing, shelter, food, and in many places, transportation. But do you need that Tesla? Do you need that Escalade? Do you need that 6-bedroom house? Do you need to wear Michael Kors? Do you need these high-end clothing? Fendi, Perry, Chanel,
Gucci,
exactly. So you start to think, do I need these things? So what I found myself, and I sort of learned it from my wife. My wife loves Z Gallery. She's a furniture person. She buys from Z Gallery, but she sort of accentuates the rest of the house with things that she can get at Marshall's. You get that one focal piece. So you get yourself a nice shirt and you get some slacks or something, because nobody really looking at your pants. You gets a nice shirt and some decent pair of pants, right? That look nice. You ain't spend an arm and a leg for it. And I started to realize, like my ring, everybody was asking me, like, "Oh man, that's a nice ring." I'm like, if I told you how much this thing you cost, you would laugh. But my wife was like, "Why don't you want a platinum?" I was like, "Babe, because I work with my hands. I'm gonna get them. I'm gonna mess it up, and it's just easier not to mess it up." But I started to learn how to be frugal, which is kind of funny because, like, I told you I grew up in Baltimore. I grew up in an area in Baltimore County, which was predominantly Jewish. So they are very frugal people. They get nice stuff, but they're looking at the long-term investment in what they do. So I started to do the same thing. I started buying things that fit, that were nice, but I didn't splurge my money. So then when things came along that I could get something better, I got it because it fit into the investment portfolio.
Okay. For me, I'll say too. For one, I also have went back to school because decided to get out of like manual labor. Try and get into the office where I feel like I'll be more challenged as opposed to something that's come in and do the same thing every day. But on the bigger scale for me, like I said, I was in the military, so sadly I left the military with certain disabilities, especially on the mental side. And as a man, it was hard to accept that type of stuff for a while. So lately, I've really done a lot of work on, getting myself better mentally and emotionally. And then also, I've always been a spiritual person, but the relationship I've gotten with God now has been amazing. Went through a bad relationship from her side and my side both. So I think my mental and my spiritual have been my biggest growth and my biggest workouts right now, because with it, I know I'm going to be a better person, not only just for myself, but for one, I'm a father and I have a daughter. So for becoming a better father, hopefully a great husband in the future, whenever that day comes, and just really a person that can be someone that people can depend on.
Yeah.
So I want to be impactful, not just by fame, but like genuinely impacting, even if it's one person's life. Like, well, he helped me mentally and spiritually. So I think those are my biggest growth areas and the thing that I'm so proud to be working on right now. So yeah,
Absolutely.
what about you,
Chris? You want to chime in, or you want me to go ahead?
Go ahead.
I would say maybe 5 years ago, in my mental capacity I was going through, I don't know what it was. It was just like I was in a fog or something of that nature. I can do my job perfectly. I can do. I have a couple of small business that I run as well on the entertainment side. Was doing those phenomenally. Work with some hip hop artists like Powwow. Work with Fat Joe. Just like was doing amazingly well, right? And still doing some of those same things now, but it was kind of like I was like going through the motions, if that makes sense, right? Because I'm able to do these things exceptionally well, right? And doing that, got into that little funk, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, right? I don't really know what's going on here. What's my purpose? What am I doing? And just really kind of like had to come to Jesus meeting with myself. Anybody know me? I'm like harder on myself than anybody. It's like you ain't gonna beat me being hard on myself, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure we're all like that, right? So I started challenging myself, right? And one of the challenges I did was two things: one physically and one mentally. One, every morning I wake up at 5 and go to the gym, right? Because I can't get this nowhere else, like in my day. Like I was telling y'all, I'll be here at a certain time. Like I can't get it nowhere else in my day. And then two, I write down my goals in the present tense. So for instance, it's just saying a goal. This is not my goal, but I am a millionaire, right? I have abundance in all areas of my life, right? And doing that exercise every morning, if I missed it, it's like my day not complete, right? So the biggest impactful thing in my life right now is working on myself, and I had to start thinking about that, right? It's just like the saying. I don't know if you heard this before, but every time we get on a plane, when the stewardess or anybody is up there, one of the last things they say is like, if this plane go down and those oxygen masks gonna come down, you need to put the mask on yourself first. Why are they saying that?
I absolutely know. Because if you pass out, you can't help nobody else.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. So that's what I had to start thinking of, like myself. Like I'm giving this to this person, I'm giving it to this person, I'm giving this to this organization, I'm giving it to this. I was like, and I'm drained. That's why I'm in this fog right now, because I hadn't been focusing on myself. Right.
And I understand that because I had to look at the biblical reason. If you haven't noticed, Jesus always at some point walked away from his disciples because a battery has to be charged at some point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's good right there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's the most impactful thing in my life, and not feeling bad about it. Taking that time for yourself, making sure you meditate, making sure you're taking care of yourself, because then I got more to give, if that makes sense. And the people that depend on me, they can't get nothing from an empty vessel.
Amen.
Right?
See if Chris got something to say.
Well, I was working. I was having some issues with one of the cameras, but what was just refresh me? What was the question again?
What's the most impactful thing that you're working on or in your life right now?
The most impactful thing that I'm working on. Well, for me, basically, it's just for me, I'm just trying to just kind of better myself. You know, be a better husband. You know, try to be the best husband I can be. I know and my kids probably can attest. I've been a very selfish man, in my adult life, and I'm really working on. I've been working on doing that, on getting better with that. Not being so selfish, not worrying, not trying to deal with, just take care of me, worry about me. I've always cared about others and what others felt and everything, but in the end, it was always about me, and so I'm working on that, and I'm just trying to do whatever else I can. I'm trying to do this, I got some other things I'm trying to work on. I'm just I want to leave the world. When I leave, I want people to be able to say that was a good dude right there. Uh I want to leave a mark on the world, Uh so yeah, I don't, that's just it. I'm just trying to work on bettering myself. You know,
Absolutely.
Nobody's perfect.
No.
Nobody claims to be perfect. So I can just do
Absolutely.
what I can do.
Yeah.
I had to apologize to my daughter. I sat down with her and it's like, look, little girl, I know there's been many times I've not been there, been working, trying to provide and everything, but I have not seen you as more as I've been trying to do. And
Mhm.
sometimes, and I've even talked to my wife. I said, look, babe, I've always been a hustler. I'm
Mhm.
2, 3, 4, 5 irons in the fire,
Yeah.
Type of person. I'm always running. But sometimes you just got to step back. I literally bought myself kayaks so I could get out, get away. Sometimes sit there and hear God in the midst of nature.
Mhm.
And you know what? And it's crazy because me as a father, people always tell me you're a good dad. And I never believe it. And I don't know if that's just me being hard on myself or just me seeing my shortcomings. And one of my shortcomings is really a side effect of, like I say, me being in the Navy, you're isolated. And being the only boy growing up, I feel real isolated. So, like, really talking a lot, look, I'll be in my house by myself. I can miss you and not talk to you. And I realize that's not good for um when you are a father or when you have loved ones. So having to get out of that, I've really been real deliberate in changing that in the recent years. And I do understand like some of the things that my daughter's mother was trying to get to me. And it's even harder because I take them have to go the extra mile because her and my daughter she's from Florida, so they live in Tampa. So that communication, I got to make sure that communication is there.
Yeah.
Even though she's just 5, I got to make sure she still feels my presence and get things in order so I am able to see her as much as possible. And I think the best thing about this conversation that I think really the world should understand is we always look at, say, dope fiends and all of those as addicts, but the moment you realize that there's something that you have to self-improve on, you had an addiction to something. It wasn't a drug. It just, you may not have been the best person, and it doesn't mean you did it intentionally, because so many things we've done so often that it becomes like muscle memory and it's unconscious. But we have these addictions we got to break, and the best way to break it is accountability. And I think that's something that really we realize when you getting into, like I say, self-improvement, is realizing that there's an addiction about myself that I have to break right now.
I always say, and when I talk to people, that I always tell people right off the bat, there's no person on this planet that you're going to run into that doesn't have an addiction, because God created us to love and to be loved. Yeah. And one of the problems that we have is, instead of having that vertical relationship with God, we tend to do it on a horizontal, which becomes an addiction. So one of the things I try to instill in people is, look, give of yourself sometimes. By giving of yourself and not always making it about you, you start to see that you can help. Because I did financial advising, not because I was rich, because I was struggling financially too.
And how about people stop using other people's addiction as pillows? Because I won't work on myself if I say, well, he doing that, so I know I'm all right. If we like to make the joke, oh, if she getting to heaven, I know I'm good. How about we stop using other people's problems as cushions and pillows to say, I ain't got to really work on myself. Because I personally don't feel as bad off as that person, but you still don't really know the little small things that you do, what effect it actually has on your life and those people that are around you. Whether you think you're doing it and whether you think people are paying attention, all those small things that you do all change people's lives, perspective, emotions. Everything is connected. And if we stop using other people's problems as pillows to make our situations more comfortable, just get up out the bed, basically, is what I'm telling you. Get up out that bed.
I think I like quotes a lot. One of the quotes I like is behavior is communication. And a lot of the times, like when people are giving us something or we're receiving something from somebody, we take it a certain way, but really what they're doing is they're trying to communicate to us, right? And if you take a step back and just like, why is this person doing this? Or why am I, putting this out like that? It's really them, what you're talking about. I'm trying to get that love.
Mhm.
right? And so I'm trying to get it horizontally and not hooking up with my main source, right?
Mhm.
So therefore, you're always searching for this thing. So I think as you hit the nail on the head, I think all addictions come down to love. If that makes sense, because that's what we were created to do.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
created to do. And what you were saying is about behavior. Anybody that has a pet, especially a dog, the dog is sitting there going, hey, 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 trying to get your attention. And then you don't know what it is. That dog may have to go to the bathroom. He may be hungry. They got to go pee. You don't know what with the situation. He may just want to play,
Yeah.
but you got to figure it out.
Yeah.
And that's from learning the behavior.
And I think what he said would it, I think help a lot of people as far as being able to take criticism. You said, I'm trying to get something out of you when I'm bringing this to you is because there's something I want from you, and it's and like you said, it's out of love. I see you as somebody in my life, so if you stop looking at it as me attacking you and me saying, "Hey, what I'm seeing right now isn't the best version of you, or this isn't something that's good for you, and I love you and I want the best out of you." Maybe if we thought of it as they're only coming at me because they love me and they want that better version of me, rather than, man, why are you always talking down on me? It's not talking down. It's actually me trying to tear something off of you that's keeping you from getting to the next level.
Absolutely.
It's sort of like swimming with the anchor. I'm trying to tell you to get rid of the anchor.
Look,
I'm sitting there trying to swim with it.
Yeah, and then you like, no, you over here barely treading water.
Man,
you
I got that
you keep getting it in
I
there.
got that platinum anchor. I can't get rid of that platinum anchor. She's like, fool, you gonna drown.
And if you go down there and try to cut the anchor, they hit you in your head.
Man, what you doing helping me? I like my situation. You sure? Are you sure you like where you at? Look, I just want you to know. Look at it from love, rather than just a place of, man, this person is trying to criticize you. And there are people that do it, but we are, like you say, we are already too defensive, and we need to get out of that for the fact of just what we went through for generations. We are too angry as a people. So look, let's change our perspective. And then if we're able to change our perspective, we can actually possibly have room to change.
Absolutely.
Well, I think a lot of times it comes to is in the way you saying it to that person.
Delivery,
your delivery. Because sometimes, I know I have it bad. You know, I'm trying to say something to my wife, and I'm trying to be as loving as I can, but to her, it's coming off as I'm fussing. You know. And I have to tell her, babe, I'm not fussing.
Yeah.
It may sound like it, but I'm not fussing. You know.
I'm gonna put that from the Black Latino perspective. I speak fast. So when I'm trying to speak fast, people go, "What are you fussing at me for?" I'm like, I'm trying to get my point across before you cut me off.
Yeah.
I think I do agree delivery is good, but sometimes we don't give people a chance to learn how to talk to us. Like, because I guarantee you, if I yell at you and say, "Hey, I'm about to give you $1 million," you wouldn't care because you understand what I'm giving you. Like, you may not like it, but you understand that there's some substance in there. So sometimes focus more in on the words. And then if that's somebody that you care about, first think about y'all relationship. Because if you think about y'all relationship, then if you understand how y'all care about each other, then give yourself a moment to calm down and realize, look, this person loved me. I don't think they trying to come at me like this. Now let me hear what are the words they actually said. But like I said, we're always so defensive.
Yeah.
And I'm guilty of that too.
It's sort of when somebody sends you a text, and your mindset may be, and I'm gonna use the one word, WHAT. Now we know the word is what, but we know that it could be what? Like, I'm confused by that. Or it could be what? Which is, why are you bothering me? Or it could be what?
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm trying to find out what you need. You know, but we can interpret things by the way we've been raised, by the way we see things. You know, I walk by Chris and I say, "Hey, what's up?" Right? Now, he could take it as, "Hey, how you doing, bro?" Right? You may take it as, "Hey, man, you want to fight?" We didn't. I was just saying, "How you doing?"
It could have been that we're from different places.
You can also use those things for motivation too. How people say stuff. I remember when I was coming out of college, I told my roommate, I said, "I'm gonna start a record label." He's like, "You know how much money that costs?"
Oh, I know.
All right. And I said, oh, he don't believe in me. That's
Mhm.
not exactly what he meant, but I took it like that. And I take everything like as a challenge, if that makes sense. Like,
Mhm.
oh, you don't think I'm like kind of like how Jordan was on. I'm just trying to make this a competition at this point
Mhm.
so I can push myself and propel myself to that. But as we talked about, looking at the way you say stuff, rate of speed, how loud your inflection, your tone, it's incumbent on us. We're having this conversation tomorrow. When somebody come to us and they do this, we got to be cognizant enough to practice what we preach. So
Exactly.
you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Exactly.
So, very enlightening conversation. I got one
Absolutely.
more question for y'all.
Let's go.
All right. When was the last time someone told you, "I appreciate you," and how did you feel?
My wife actually said that not too long ago. And in fact, one of my coworkers even said that today. He asked me, could I take this guy's in his up in age, 70s or something, right? Bad knees, bad ankles. And he was like, yo, can you do me a favor? I was like, hey, what's up? He said, can you take this guy? He's all the way over in Body Shop. So Body Shop is about a quarter of a mile from where we are. That guy was not walking there.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, sure. He said, man, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Because my day could be anything. It could go from I'm not doing nothing all day long to, hey, there's a fire. But even though I was working today, I stopped. I went over, grabbed that guy, took him all the way across to the other side, and then I got a chance to enjoy the lunar eclipse. Well, I mean the solar eclipse while at it, but it gave me a chance to say, okay, this guy's helped me out once before. I'm going to help him out.
So I'm gonna ask you to answer the second part of that. How did you feel?
I always feel good when I help somebody, man. I mean, you all got a chance to meet my brother. He does Heroes on the Water, right? It's here in the base is actually in Allen, Texas, right? And I keep saying I'm gonna do it because I got 2 kayaks, so I could always take a veteran out. But the way my schedule works, I'm like, they be like, let's do it on a Saturday. I'm like, oh, I can't do it. But I'm always wanting to try to help somebody, some way or form, way, shape, or form. I'm trying to help somebody. And my wife goes, why are you always trying to help somebody, but they don't try to help you? I'm like, I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about that.
I've been there. I know what you're saying.
I'm not worried about that because my thing is this. We as Black men always get the bad rap.
Yeah.
We always get the bad rap.
Mhm.
So I want to try to be a good father. I'm not the greatest father. And I even shared a post that says, I'm not the greatest father, but I'm their father. I'm an attentive father, a providing father. I can't say that I'm going to be perfect, but what I can say is I'm going to help. I'm going to do whatever I can. My daughter says, hey, Dad, I need $10. I need to get some gas. All right, got you. Because it's better to say that I can give something. If a friend says, hey, I need some help moving, I'm going to do that, right? But I'm always going to try to show us as Black men in a positive light. So if somebody says, hey, bro, I'm going through something, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to listen to you.
Yeah.
And I'm a man that loves to talk, but for once in my life, I will sit down and listen to you. Tell me everything you got going on.
How about you, Miguel?
I had to grab my cup on this one because the answer is I've heard. I'm not gonna lie. I've heard it within this past overall week, but the thing for me is I'm respectful in my response, but there's that part of me that doesn't allow myself to actually truly receive it. And my thing is, even though I know I'm working on myself, anytime they give me the big ups, like Miguel, you're this, you're doing this, I'm like, there's that part of me that's saying, no, you don't know the real me. And I'm like, why am I doing the devil's work? Because I know I'm working on me, but I'm telling myself that they don't know the real me. Like I'm not trying to change myself for the better. And that's something that I know I have to currently work on because I'm like, I'm not receptive of it. I'm respectful, like, thank you. And I got to make sure that now I got to give you your flowers back because you gave me some because I'm not believing I'm deserving of it. And
well, Lecrae has a song that he says, the line was, crooked sticks draw straight lines. Just look at me. Now, what his statement is, even though I'm not perfect and I'm still trying to do better, but I still can draw that straight line because though I might not be perfect, I'm still trying to get there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, and that's where I got to get myself to, because right now, like I say, it's I don't know if, like, I can't even say it's being my hardest critic, because it's not even challenging me to be better. It's, I really, in this moment, I'm saying I'm kind of doing the devil's work. I'm beating myself down in that situation, because I'm like, if I do something wrong in the moment that it's not all the time, but if somebody was to give me a big up, if I did something wrong in that moment, I'm going to remind myself of something wrong I did, to say, you're not deserving of what they telling you.
Mm-hmm.
And like I say, that's
you're in
one
your
of the things
Peter
I gotta,
moment.
yeah,
You're in your Peter moment. Jesus told Peter that he was going to deny him. Peter was like, nope.
Or I could be in my where I'm Paul now, but I'm always reminding myself that I'm Saul.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's just that I'm like, okay. And part of me is, I've always told myself that, okay, that'll keep you humble. But no, it almost kind of, I'm realizing now that it deteriorates the work I have put in to become better.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not, and I know I have a long way to go, but when somebody gives me if this is, I've ran half this race and somebody wants to give me water, I'm not allowing myself to drink it, because I'm like, no, I got a long way to go.
Yeah.
And so I got to stop doing the enemy's work and still trying to do God's work at the same time, because I got to realize that that's really to renew me to keep doing what I'm doing to become better. But I'll say that's one addiction that I have to break.
I'm gonna drag you out on the kayak with me one day.
You ain't got to drag me out, because I was in the Navy. I love the water. I'm gonna get out there, row.
How about you?
Yeah, for me, I don't have to say it's been a minute since I heard somebody say that. Actually, no, you know what? I'm lying. I take that back. I think I heard somebody said that they appreciate me last week. It was at work. I can't remember what we was doing, but they came over to my station and was looking for something, and I helped them out. I basically, because I was kind of ahead on my job, so before I had to get to the next one, and I was trying to help them find the person that they were looking for, and they was just like, "Hey, I appreciate it. I appreciate you." And I know they was probably just saying, I really didn't think too much about it, because they was probably just saying it as a natural reaction. Hey, appreciate it. Thanks. There he is. I get him. So when people say I appreciate you, I really don't think too much into it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, because for me, most times when I hear it, I'm thinking it's just a natural reaction, like a thank you. I don't take it for granted or anything, but I guess I don't know. I just it's just a natural reaction, I guess. So
okay. For me, I used to take it like, what you trying to get from me?
Absolutely.
Like,
that's that hood in you.
That's the hood, right?
You want
like,
something.
You want something.
Yeah,
like, what you being
want
nice,
something,
bro?
bro.
All that type of stuff. And I had to really, I even told my team last year, I was like, I got to work on taking compliments.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I got to work on it, so I need y'all to help
My
me.
wife worked on me with that.
Yeah. Because I was like, brush it off. Oh, that wasn't nothing. Run somebody halfway across the sound. Oh, well, that wasn't nothing, man. You good. And I asked that question because what's crazy is I was talking to this senior ranking official in this organization. And I asked him that question, had a chance to interview him. Asked him that question. He said, if I wouldn't announce my retirement, I couldn't tell you when the last time somebody did that.
Mm.
And a lot of times, the jobs that we do are thankless.
Absolutely.
Right? Like you said, they may just be saying it, right? So I asked that question and challenge us to be able to take those compliments, man, because that's how we grow, right? Like you said, it's that journey, along that journey, it's that reminder, hey, you are doing that, right? But don't bloviate it and get big head with it, but keep on that path, I've enjoyed my time with you all today.
Absolutely.
Likewise.
I've learned a lot about you all, man. So
Yeah.
I appreciate the time and the opportunity, and I look forward to
Mhm.
next time.
Absolutely. I would, like I said, we got to get out fishing. I don't care if you came from St. Louis or not, you going fishing.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. All right. Hey, I'll get out there.
Anyway,
I'll get out there. I'll cast the reel.
Hey, I'm just excited to actually. I really feel like I can grow out of this. So so far I think the group that's here, man, I think it's a solid group. So I'm very excited, man. I'm jumping on the inside. I'm like, man, I really like this. So
Maybe I can
I'm
get
grateful.
you eating seafood.
Huh?
Maybe I can get you eating seafood.
I eat seafood. No, he don't.
Oh, he don't eat
I
seafood.
don't do seafood.
I'm gonna eat the seafood, the crawfish, the catfish. I'm trying to get off the catfish. Like I said, I'm trying to eat a little bit
Well, you know,
healthier.
Yeah,
but
My birthday
do the
was last
seafood.
week. I made crab cakes.
Okay.
Them things lasted like
I know
Yeah.
a spot in Fort Worth.
The
We got some good food.
The most seafood I'll eat is like some salmon croquettes or a fillet of fish at McDonald's.
You
That's
might as well
about it.
just say you eating biscuits. You gotta get you off up in there, bro.
Well,
You know what? I'm eating the
That's
bread.
it. Yeah, I would probably get along better with my wife. She eat all that, crab legs, oysters.
Are you allergic?
Crabs. Huh?
Are you allergic?
No, I'm not into eating roaches of the sea. They scavengers, brother.
And say,
hey.
okay, that's fair. That's fair.
That's just
The
that's
crawfish
just-
and the shrimp.
My wife.
Yeah.
What
I
about
don't
like
eat no
some
gator
red
because it
snapper?
eats people.
no other kind of fish. Salmon croquettes and tuna salad. That's about it.
Gotcha.
That's as far as it gets
Have
for
you
me.
tried crawfish?
No.
Okay, what if you just tried one? If you don't like it, I'll eat it. Best believe I'll eat the rest because it's about
Absolutely.
a
You know
pound.
what?
Nugget.
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Look, I have tried to bring myself to try and do it, but I'm like, it's like eating chitlins. I can't do it.
Wait,
no,
yeah, that's a.
no.
Okay.
Now, see, you would probably
I-
get along better
I-
with my son because my oldest son, he tries everything.
Me
You
too.
know, he was in the Navy,
Yeah.
and I was looking at a live one day when he was out with his boy. They had a weekend pass, and he was like, "Man, I tried that octopus, man. I ain't care for that octopus, but
Man.
but that squid was good, man. I do that." And I'm like, I ain't eating one of
I'm
them.
from Texas, so we neighbors to Louisiana, and then my aunt at one time was married to somebody from Louisiana. So
Mhm.
now I did try mussels when I was in the Navy. I was up in Canada. I did realize like if you're gonna try seafood, you got to go somewhere
On
that's
the
by
coast.
the water,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it because it's different. It's right out the water. It ain't had to get shipped,
Yeah.
drove, flew,
Right.
trained, nothing. It's right there. And oh man, but okay, I respect that. He kind of right. It is kind of like the cockroaches, but them some good cockroaches with a little lars on.
You know, I learned a
In the
little.
Old Bay.
I learned a little history about lobsters. You know, Maine used to give lobsters to the inmates because they didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Now, lobster is a delicacy. They would never put it in jail.
And you know what's crazy? Lobster in the Navy is almost a death sentence. Because if you're on deployment and they bring out lobster and steak, it means we getting extended out here longer. As water. Hey, you be like, yeah, what we eating today? And they come out with, we got lobster and steak. Oh, okay. Let me just go ahead and email my mom and let her know I'm gonna be out here a little bit longer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, okay. We gotta
All
find
right.
another type of seafood to get him on. Maybe we can do crabs. No?
You,
Oh,
You don't
crabs.
want crabs.
King crab. See,
What-
it ain't even gotta be
what if I
regular
steam-
crab.
what if I
Let's get
steam
him,
some
get him
crabs?
king snow crab. Let's get him some king snow crab.
Y'all can have at it. I'm not.
He said, "Y'all." I know it's how you said.
I'm
y'all.
not gonna try. I'm look. I don't eat seafood. Okay.
Lobsters,
You let me-
wait,
I
lobsters
don't eat
are bottom
seafood.
feeders.
But y'all can have
lobster's
at it.
about a fetus.
They must be eating
Lobster,
the bottom of red
shrimp,
bottoms or
lobster,
something because that's some
scavengers.
good bottom feeders
Lobster,
right there.
shrimp, crabs, crawfish,
Oysters.
oysters, clams. Yeah, they're all.
So pretty
they're
much all seafood that ain't a certain type of fish.
that ain't a fish.
Oysters are the ocean's filter.
Yeah.
I'm alright on oysters. Like I can go without them.
Now I go find some. I'll dig in the oyster for some pearls, but that's about it.
That's about it.
Yeah.
You ain't got to be so up north. Matter of fact, north with an F on it. You
North.
ain't got to be so up
North.
north with it, man. It's
All right.
but I respect it.
All right. All right. Well, I want to appreciate it. I appreciate all you fellas being here tonight. We had a good show, good talk,
Yes, sir.
good talking. I'm looking forward to many more. And if you enjoyed yourself, feel free to like, share, and follow us on Facebook. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube and tell a friend. tell a friend, tune in. We got some good brothers here that's gonna, you know, try to help you out and help themselves out. You know, if you got any questions, we'll get an email up for you soon. You know, so in the meantime, just keep tuning in. Leave a comment on our page. Leave a comment on our channel on YouTube, and we will see you next week. New shows every Sunday. Okay, every Sunday is when new show will be uploaded by noon. All right.
Yes.
Until next week, see you all. Peace.
Absolutely.